Yo, basically doing this job. My guy. So scrambling to be on time today, and I'm still late. TGIF indeed. Hey, Denalin, thanks for the hydrate and the work alert. Well, we got a handful of articles to go through. Some of them are pretty quick. Talking about Crimson Desert quite a bit today. The one true Ryan, welcome. Good morning. I can't stream with shoes on. I mean, I could, but it's weird. And the Stream Deck pedal I've got, the foot pedal I've got, I just can't use it with shoes. I know it's strange. Go to YouTube. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy Friday. Welcome to the stream. I know it's 30 minutes late. I'm sorry. Doing my best. King Ryan dropping in with the heart me. Thank you so much. It's just Ryan Day in chat, everybody. It's all just Ryan. All right. Well, welcome in. Happy Friday. Hope you're all having a great day. Hope you've had a great week. Popular vote. Nice. Thanks, dude. Epic support there. Epic support. Let's see. What we're going to figure it out. I was going to look up something real quick for you guys. I don't remember what it was. I was going to see if the goal updated at all since last night. Hey, we made progress. All right, so let me see how I'm going to update this. Because it's under here and then here. Alright, and then we're at 1317. Let's go. I don't know if I have to save it or to update. I just wanted you to refresh it. Because we made progress on the goal. See, that's my problem with this widget. I've got the starting amount. Jeez. Is that you, Ryan? No, this is Patrick. Why is it at 2786 now? That's not where we're at. We're at 1317. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna reset it. And then it's gonna go to 0.
Welcome back.
There, it's at 1317 now. Hey, Will. So we've made progress. We've got some progress. We got about 100 hours added to our watch time, which is phenomenal. Because this is a 5-day ago as of showing data as of March 15th. So there's a 5-day window, but hey, we're almost halfway. We're almost 50% done. So that's awesome. Will, how are you this morning? Good to see you. I gotta move stuff. There's things in the way. I can't read everything on this screen over here. Okay, anyway. But this Friday morning, we got game news to cover before I start work. And then we've got the gaming roundtable, which I do need to get everything I need to make some stuff to like give you guys links to that and all that fun stuff. Doing so far, so poggies. How am I? I'm doing good, man. Ready to talk game news with you guys. Go over all of the latest stories we've got. Can we do game news to Coconut Mall? I don't know. Probably not. But let's jump in. Let me swap the playlist. Let's do this one. Been a while since we've done this one. It's gonna be lo-fi. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so did it not actually start this playlist? It might be too low energy. Hey, next I've hitting that 3-stream streak. His streak reset at some point. Hey, dude, you know, every time I try to maintain a stream streak, I realize I don't watch on the weekends. I'm not even in my office. And a lot of times I'm just busy when other people are going live and forget to actually join. That's me. That's me most of the time. All right, our first story. We've got Ubisoft closes down game development at Red Storm Entertainment with 105 jobs lost. Ubisoft has ordered Tom Clancy studio Red Storm Entertainment to stop game development, resulting in dismissal of 105 employees. They announced a major restructure at the beginning of the year, which has already led to layoffs, several game cancellations, and studio closures. So, what were they working on? That's what I want to know. Red Storm Entertainment was founded by novelist Tom Clancy in 1996 and is based in North Carolina. It gained significant recognition with the release of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six in 1998. 2 years later, the company was acquired by Ubisoft and went on to create Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon in 2001, which received even more acclaim. Since then, Red Storm has contributed to games like Rocksmith, Far Cry, Tom Clancy's The Division, and Tom Clancy's The Division 2, as well as Mythic Quest, the Mythic Quest TV series on Apple TV+. They were set to be building Ubisoft's AAA VR future with Assassin's Creed before game development was halted. Lame. Game is a tad loud or ducking properly. Let's see. It was supposed to drop. Very odd. How's that? I don't know now. It's very low now. Or it just stopped. It went on to another track. I don't know. That was awkward. I turned it down just a little bit. And it was just like, nope. Hey, Aaron, good to see you in chat. Hey, Ron. All right, so they were... That's kind of disheartening, right? Like, this studio built a lot of what Ubisoft saw success with in the, like, late 90s through, like, the 2010s. The early 2000s. Built a lot of success with the Tom Clancy series. Red Storm was kind of vital to that because, I mean, games like Splinter Cell and Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six all were like pillar franchises for Ubisoft at one point or another. So this is a huge bummer. You know, a lot of longtime developers probably were working there, and then to be relegated, going from making amazing like military shooter games to making being a support studio for Rocksmith. I mean, nothing wrong with Rocksmith. Really cool project, really cool ideas, but like contributing to games and not directly working on them anymore. That's a shame. Yeah, I really hate that. I hope the devs there can either found their own studio, make good military sim shooter games again, or they find somewhere to go. You know, that's always my hope with this. I hope they land on their feet, they find something way better, because if I was employed even as at a Ubisoft subsidiary at this point, I'd be looking for another job, like for sure. All right, let's move on to our next, maybe. There we go. All right, update to Steam OS. So this is the OS that runs on like the Steam Deck and will run on the Steam machine. Steam OS is what keeps the Steam Deck and Lenovo Legion Go S as some of the best handheld gaming PCs. Despite the former's outdated hardware, Valve's own operating system is also set to power the forthcoming Steam machine. Though it's a Linux-based OS in its own right, with its own updates, and a big one just landed. In SteamOS 3.8.0, wow, Valve can count to 3. Uh, initial support has been added for the Steam machine. While neither the price or release date of Living Room Box has been confirmed, we do know the Living Room Box comes with a Zen 4 CPU and a semi-custom RDNA 3 GPU. Support for these architectures should be pretty well baked into Valve's OS already. However, as the patch notes also confirm more up-to-date support for AMD, Intel platforms, and third-party handhelds. There's a lot in this update. 2 points in the patch note in particular stand out as good news for anyone hoping to load SteamOS onto a non-Valve device. Improved compatibility with recent Intel and AMD platforms, greatly improved video memory management with discrete GPU platforms. The Steam machine has a discrete GPU, hence further support makes a lot of sense, but it also gets us closer to Valve's vision of an actual Steam machine. Not just the prepackaged box, but the concept of sticking SteamOS onto your own hardware. We've tried SteamOS on a couple of devices over the past few years, and it's yet to feel like the best option. Bazite or another Linux distro is often a better pick. Alright, here's the notes. Improved controller support. That's always good. Added system and controller firmware update support for the Lenovo Legion Go 2. Very nice. Controller, TDP controller, speaker audio support for the Asus ROG Xbox Ally series. So that's cool. If you wanted to load SteamOS on the Ally, it will load properly and have support. Automatically handle internally rotated display for some third-party handhelds. Okay. Let's see. I mean, that's really like the biggest notes. I just think it's great that SteamOS is still getting updated. It's seeing meaningful updates. Of course, it's still going to be updated, but we might actually get the gaming operating system that it desires to be before too long. There we go. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, SteamOS. I like that it's being updated. Maybe the gaming OS for PC gaming at some point. I don't think it's there yet, but the more work that's done, the better that opportunity looks. All right, Overwatch co-creator jokes. You need 8 billion players to succeed in free-to-play, but he's not wrong. Jeff Kaplan saw Overwatch transition to a free-to-play model, so when he talks about what it takes to make such a concept succeed, you'd best believe he knows what he's talking about. In a recent supersized stream, Kaplan was playing his new game, The Legend of California, and he was asked if the game would be free-to-play at launch. With a tone that was joking but bordering on being serious, Kaplan explained what you need to make free-to-play games a success, and it involves having billions of players. The Legend of California has been turning heads recently, emerging as a solid-looking open-world action survival game with arcade-based Red Dead Redemption vibes. It's a far cry from Overwatch, which is what Jeff Kaplan is perhaps best known for. Many have dubbed it Rust but Wild West, and it's easy to see why. Kaplan is leading the charge on The Legend of California, and he recently appeared on a 10-hour stream playing the game and answering questions. One popped up about the game's intended monetization model and whether it would be free to play, to which Kaplan answered, "In-game cash, I have no idea. I don't know what the business model is. I don't think we're going to be free to play. To be free to play, you need like 8 billion players and 2,000 devs cranking out effing keychains like a sweatshop." No, microtransactions. That's not us. We're not going to be able to support the game on free to play. I'd be happy to be proven wrong on that. I want to do something simple. I mean, that's fair. Kaplan went on to explain that you unlock stuff just by playing the game, which is the way most players would have it if they could. I actually really like that approach. It's a novel concept. Imagine just getting rewards for playing the game. Interesting. I want to see more on this Legend of California game. I really do. It seems like a cool idea. So I definitely need to look up more on it. It does seem kind of cool. All right, let's talk about PlayStation phasing out the PlayStation Network branding. PlayStation will be dropping the PlayStation Network and PSN branding by September 2026. In an email sent to developers and seen by Insider Gaming, PlayStation will be dropping the PlayStation Network and PSN branding It says that the change will be purely visual and is a means to properly capture the breadth of our evolving digital services. The full email reads, "We'd like to inform you that Sony Interactive Entertainment has strategically decided to phase out the terms PlayStation Network and PSN across our platform in order to properly capture the breadth of our evolving digital services. What's changing and timeline? The upcoming changes are purely visual and will not introduce any technical alterations to our offerings. To simplify and unify branding, the terms PlayStation Network and PSN will be phased out across all SIE assets by September 2026. All features currently associated with PSN, including core network features such as friends, multiplayer, and trophies, will remain unaffected and available to players. You'll be notified ahead of changes coinciding with the technical requirements checklist update in fall of 2026. Note PS5 DevNet devices is required. PS5 DevNet access is required to view TRC documentation. At that time, you'll need to align. Okay, that's not really important to us. It's currently unclear on what the new name of the network will be. PSN's been out a while. I think it's had some ups and downs. I don't know though, because like, didn't Xbox just recently? Zach Warren, hey, what's up? You have a good day too. Thanks for stopping in. Didn't Xbox recently start referring to their stuff as Xbox Network? So it seems kind of odd that they would, PlayStation's like, we can't be similar to Xbox at all, and then now PlayStation's like, nope, drop the network. So what are they going to call it? What is it? Is it going to be just PlayStation services and online access and all the other stuff is just part of it? Like, I don't know. That's kind of odd if you ask me. But interesting. It's kind of weird. I guess the negative perception of PSN being down, even though that was, over a decade ago now, that lengthy PlayStation Network outage we had back in the PS3 days, and then another one recently, more recently, I guess, during the PS4. There was that one holiday season it went out for a while, but Xbox was also affected. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's just like, hey, we got to evolve the brand to get more people to subscribe. That's what it seems like. But I also think with Xbox referring to themselves as having the Xbox Network, which hasn't really like taken hold much, but even the reference to it, I could imagine Sony just going, no, we can't have network in the name. Maybe it's just going to be called PlayStation Services or PlayStation Online or something along those lines. Let's see, we'll jump to this tab too. With the rumors of the upcoming PC storefront, which we've talked about on and off again, both here on this channel and on the Gaming Roundtable podcast, I could see a total revamp coming to align both the PC branding and the PlayStation console branding to one thing. So let's jump to the next thing. We got rumors, updates. This is from Ventilator. Latest rumors, Sony will sell their PC games on their own store. Some think Wolverine may release day one on PC, but will require a Sony launcher and a PSN account. This way they can avoid PC games on Helix, the upcoming Xbox console, hybrid console. A PSN launcher has been rumored for years already. So this is kind of the strategy, right? This is what I thought they would do when they realized they weren't selling games very well on PC, specifically on Steam, is instead of paying, the 30% to Steam, they would just launch their own store and have their PlayStation exclusives available only on PlayStation, right? Then it doesn't matter because the PlayStation storefront on PC is still PlayStation, much like this is an Xbox, right? It's the same thinking. It's, our games are available on a breadth of devices as opposed to a few, right? We'll push the console versions as the priority, but at least with our own PC store, we'll make 100% of the money instead of 70% of the money. And then also they could do the cross-buy or, play their own version of Play Anywhere, which I think is labeled cross-buy. We saw the emblems and references in the back end very recently that were data mined, thanks to people who can't leave things well and good alone. But I think this was a long time coming. Again, this has been rumored for a few years now. If they were to do this and Wolverine was to release day one on PC alongside the PS5 version, that would be kind of interesting. Because then it would mean that, you know, Sony only was backing down from selling on third-party stores and instead wanted to make, again, the whole instead of just 70% of the money, they want to make 100% of it. I think that's, you know, that's reasonable. They're going to want those things. I wonder, though, that last point about how they can avoid PC games on Helix. If this is a PC client and Helix is a Windows PC, there's no way that they could really block it. You'd maybe by a hardware ID or some other identifier, but I don't think they're going to be able to reasonably block this if they have a PC app, but they could. There's probably some way they could do it. Indeed, rip Chuck Norris. Yeah, that was kind of mind-blowing to read last night that he was sent to the hospital and then this morning that he passed away. Praying for the family, you know. We lost a legend today, chat. Lost a legend today. All right. This is only for my buddy Scrag from the Roundtable. Kiln has a release date. And it's originally announced in 2017. Was it announced in 2017? Either way, the game will be released April 23rd. So there, the number one Kiln fan that I know will be able to play his favorite game on April 23rd. So I church small group last week about how we were surprised Chuck Norris is still alive. Crazy, he's dead now. Yeah, I mean, it's what happens. People get old. All right, this has been one of my favorite updates to read coming out of Xbox. Insiders, which is coming to the full Xbox dashboard OS pretty soon. But Xbox Insiders can now disable Quick Resume. So Quick Resume is the feature that lets you jump back into a game after turning off your Xbox, and it basically does like a save state, and so you can just jump in, you know, it suspends the game in the background, you can go do something else on the Xbox and then come back right to your game where you left off. The problem with it is live games, Fortnite, Overwatch, Halo Infinite even did it, where if you were to leave a game in Quick Resume, and let's say you were playing Overwatch, you were at the menu between matches and you're like, you know, I'm done for the night. Turn off your Xbox, turn it back on, and Quick Resume kicks in. Well, you're not authenticated anymore. So you have to go back to the main menu, sign back into the game, and it was just a pain. Like, let me just skip that step and launch back in. Well, now Microsoft's working to bring many new helpful features to Xbox players, making their experience much more immersive. Announced the arrival of Gaming Copilot, which I'm not too keen on, but the ability to disable console's Quick Resume per game title is huge. I guess there's a list of updates. Let's just look at the list. So more groups on home, which I guess I don't really use this feature, but you can group more things or have more groups of things on your home screen, which is fine. I don't really do that. Custom colors, you can now do like gradients and stuff, which is kind of neat instead of just the preset colors. Quick Resume, this is what I want. This is what I wanted here. Quick Resume is one of the most loved features on Xbox, but we've heard that for certain games it doesn't always deliver the experience you expect, especially after long periods of inactivity. With this update, you can disable Quick Resume on a per game basis to ensure those games always launch fresh. You can find this option by opening the More Options menu on a game tile in the Quick Resume group and selecting Manage Quick Resume option, or by going to any game tile and selecting Manage Game and Add-ons Quick Resume Settings and just unchecking it. Perfect. Profile badges in the guide, that's kind of cool. So you can have your little badges that you earn throughout doing things on Xbox, which are not tied to achievements, but would be cool if they would be. And then if you want, you can go join the Xbox Insiders group and download the system update now, or wait for it to properly release with fewer bugs. I'm not going to say bug free because that's not a thing, but fewer bugs is nice. All right, let's move on. Speaking of studios shutting down earlier, Sony is quietly shutting down one of the 2 PlayStation VR exclusives that it published. Well, this isn't a studio, this is a game. Firewall Ultra, which I've never heard of, is ending in September, an updated 3-year-old blog post reveals. Firewall Ultra released in August 2023, 6 months after the launch of the PlayStation VR 2 for PS5. It has now been announced that the game will be closing down, but has chosen to do so by updating a 3-year-old blog post. Rather than publishing a new post on the PlayStation blog announcing the game's shutdown, it has instead updated a post from August 22nd, 2023, which was originally announcing the game's launch. A new update on the 3-year-old article reads, "Online features for Firewall Ultra will be terminated and will no longer be available on September 17th, 2026. It adds, "As you must be online to play this title, this game will no longer be playable starting September 17th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time." Firewall Ultra was one of only 2 first-party exclusives released for the PlayStation VR 2 by Sony Interactive Entertainment, along with launch title Horizon Call of the Mountain. Although it was published by Sony, the game was developed by First Contact Entertainment, which had previously released its predecessor, Firewall Zero Hour, on the PlayStation VR. This too was published by Sony. First Contact Entertainment shut down in January 2024, just 5 years after Firewall Ultra's release, stating the lack of support for VR within the industry has eventually taken its toll. As a AAA VR game developer, we are not able to justify the expense needed going forward. Sony also published a VR update for Gran Turismo 7 and a free educational game called Climate Station, which could be played with or without the headset. But otherwise, PlayStation VR 2's library has consisted almost of entirely third-party games and updates. So, I didn't even know this was a thing, much less a live service shooter for VR. Kind of a bummer if you were into this, but given that the sales of the PSVR 2 are not great, even now, it's not surprising. There's probably just not that many people playing this game for you to even find a match. And so without a high enough concurrent player count, well, it's, you're just spending money to keep the servers up. Yeah, you could spend that money elsewhere. Understood. Understandable. All right, let's move on. We got Crimson Desert stuff to talk about. I'm trying to get to that as quick as possible. Let's see. ESRB will not adopt the PEGI age rating changes in the US as it could be confusing. There are no plans for ESRB to allow any factors outside the content and context of a game to influence the age rating, says the organization. So apparently, the PEGI group that rates games in Europe has announced changes to put let's find it. It's like a stronger rating. PEGI now sweeping changes to its age rating system take effect at the beginning of June. These include higher ratings for games with paid random items, time limited or quantity limited offers, play by appointment, and unrestricted communication. The new rules will only apply to games that are submitted for classification from June onwards, though Bosman's told the game business it will look into legacy titles. There are a lot of games out there, and a lot of them are constantly being updated, he explained. We cannot continuously check our back catalog, but we've been tracking the presence of in-game purchases and paid random items for the last 7 years. So basically, the ESRB, the US rating board, will not update its ratings based on those new factors to keep in alignment with PEGI. They're pretty close, but I kind of respect the ESRB's standard of just going, hey, we're going to leave it with game and context, like game content and context in which the content's presented. But it would be nice to know, some of those things like loot boxes and that kind of stuff. But I think the ESRB does a fair enough job at rating stuff. I don't know. It's really more for the parents that watch if you keep up with the ratings for your kids' games. They're not changing anytime soon here in the States. All right, this is a little tidbit I thought was interesting. Modern Warfare 2019 reached a new peak of 32,000 players on Steam after going on sale for $6. You know, it wasn't a bad release. I enjoyed it. I even bought it, and I don't really buy Call of Duty anymore, but I didn't buy it on Steam. If it's still on sale for $6, though, might be worth picking up. All right. Let's see. Bungie admits Marathon's weekend-heavy in-game means there are likely some who cannot participate. We are, of course, always iterating and open to looking at other options in the future. Yesterday, Bungie revealed that both of Marathon's in-game activities, Ranked Mode and the raid-like Cryo Archive, would be limited to the weekend. More specifically, Cryo Archive runs from Friday to Monday, while Ranked runs from Saturday to Tuesday each week. The tight schedule plus overlap between the two modes has already proven to be divisive. In response, Marathon's game director Joe Ziegler released a lengthy post to expand on Bungie's reasoning. Ziegler opens by acknowledging the feedback so far and noting that the team is always iterating and is open to looking at other options in the future. Right off the bat, it doesn't sound like a hill Bungie wants to die on, though Ziegler took the opportunity to explain why this weekly schedule was implemented. And you know what? I think the plan makes sense with a few tweaks, even if it's somewhat awkward. As Ziegler explains it, the weekend-heavy in-game schedule is structured around three core principles: preparing, economy, and logistics. For preparing, players will lose a lot of gear on Cryo and Ranked because it is intended to challenge you to your limits. So the downtime during the week is meant for you to re-gear. Economy, we have some great rewards on Cryo that kind of break the bank when it comes to the economy and power gain. In other words, players would be able to, we're able to get all this top tier loot whenever. There would be too much of it in game at any given time. In fact, Ziegler notes that they'd likely have to adjust the drop rate of the in-game rewards as a result. And then logistics, because of the high level and entry requirements, it inherently makes the amount of people in that queue at any time unpredictable. By making both Ranked and Cryo Archive a weekend only ordeal, more players will show up. Boy, I hope so. Bungie's reasoning is clear. The weekend schedule is not intended to counter power creep and give players time to prepare. So it's not just the hardcore players that can take part and help queue times. When you think about it this way, yes, this structure is actually pretty smart. Instead of nerfing how rewarding the in-game is, Bungie turned it into a loop of gearing up, getting OP, inevitably losing it, and doing it all over again. The minimum gear value requirements for both modes being relatively high as they are now are guardrails. Okay, that kind of all makes sense to some degree. It still kind of sucks that it's limited. Like, I likely won't be able to participate in any of that. Mostly not Ranked because I have no desire to do that. But if I had the ability to enter the Cryo Archive, I would want to. So I guess giving me time to stock up during the week, but if all I can play is during the week in the evenings and I don't play on the weekends, then I'm completely missing out on those rewards. I guess that's just the downside to live services, though. Sometimes you're going to miss out because unless you make the game, you know, a second full-time job, which is any live service game. I'm not just calling out Marathon or even Destiny to that matter. But a second job, you will never be able to get everything. Like, I imagine the speed at which Fortnite does events, like, it was a lot of pressure when I was playing casually, and now I'm barely playing, and I'm still seeing so many things happen at one time that's like, how does anybody keep up? And the truth is, I don't think they do. They just have to accept, hey, I'm going to miss out, and that's got to be okay. All right, let's talk about Crimson Desert. Let's do this in order, though. Let's see. That seems like a good order. All right, let's look at Metacritic. 78 generally favorable based on 89 critic reviews. That's just the critic reviews. The user score will not come out until later, available after 4 ratings. I think it's sitting at some mixed reviews on Steam. Excuse me. Let me open up Steam. Let's take a look at what the reviews are like. Britt, good to see you. How's everybody doing? We'll wait on Steam to load up. But let's take a look at some of the highlights. Now, these reviews are only on PC, apparently. The PS5 and Series X reviews are not dropping just yet. So let's see. Vice gave it 100, and Steam is interrupting everything. MMORPG.com gave it a 90. Yeah. It says, yet, as I sit here writing this review, I can't help but be awed by what Pearl Abyss has built. It is a game that will push forward open world design, much like the games it was inspired by did in their day. If you say so. IGN Benelux gave it 85. I don't know. That seems good. True Gaming sits at an 80. Spazio Games 77. GameSpot gave it a 70. It says a frequently thrilling game elevated by an open world well worth exploring and hard-hitting combat that delights with its depth and emphasis on player expression. It might not always be the most cohesive game, but it's enjoyable. Critical Hits gave it a 45. So we just kind of look at that. Like, that's a lot of positive reviews. Windows Central gave it a 90. It's the kind of game that usually comes along once in a generation, so singular in its ambition that it will define gaming conversation for weeks, if not months to come. Despite granular misses, Pearl Abyss has showcased what gameplay freedom truly means. I guess, you know, I want to check this game out. I'm just not sure how or when. Yo, Harold, good to see you, man. How are you? So Games Radar kind of summarizes it with jack of all trades, master of none. Crimson Desert launches to mixed Steam reviews, the players praising the RPG's visuals but calling its story bland and controls ridiculously bad. So that's where I want to see the Crimson Desert. I just want to see the Steam reviews. View page. Okay. So yeah, mixed reviews out of 6,000. Well, total reviews in all languages, 12,677, and it's sitting at mixed. So I think that's a good spread. A message to those who came here because of the trailers: before buying, you must know one, it's game not classical RPG in open world like The Witcher 3 or Skyrim. It originated from an MMO RPG project from which the online and MMO elements were removed. And since I've spent around 1,000 hours playing the studio's game, Black Desert, I feel I should warn you about something. This is a fantastic game with an open world setting and wealth of mechanics. You need to be prepared for the fact that progression in this game is more gradual and wide-ranging. Sure. Not recommended. 7.1 hours on record. Long story short, I'm not really sure I could recommend this game to most people in its current state. It runs well, it looks amazing, but I think there's some glaring issues that really hamper playability. A lot of people talking about the controls, and so that's where this article comes up. I genuinely thought my controller wasn't working. Crimson Desert players are getting so annoyed with its clunky controls, they're asking for launch day refunds. Well, yikes. Imagine releasing your game only to hear, hey, I don't know how you guys played it, but it's not working for me. I think it's pretty funny. So then we come to this. There's apparently a bug. We sincerely apologize. Crimson Desert devs fix missing pre-order bonuses. Instruct Steam players to restart your game to find them. What does restart your game? Does it mean start your save over or just close the game and open it back up? Folks who purchased Crimson Desert early were surprised to find their pre-order bonuses inaccessible upon launch last night, including those who opted for the pricier deluxe edition of the game. Instead of finding their promised Khalid Shield and Kairos attire, they were met with, well, nothing. Pearl Abyss quickly acknowledged the issue, however, which seemed to primarily affect PC players just a few hours after launch. No, go away. So we're currently investigating the issue, and they've done just that. Steam pre-order purchasers who are unable to claim your pre-order bonus and deluxe pack items, the issue has been solved. Please restart your game and check your add-ons menu to find your items. Thanks for your patience. Okay, so just close it and reopen it. Close it, update, everything. Rating will go up as refunded reviews get removed. Yeah, I think that'll happen, but like this guy, let's see. If we go back to our review lists, so people like this that are not recommended with 7 hours, they're likely not getting a refund. They might play it some more, but they're not getting a refund. We go through 13 hours. The game's pretty fun when you learn new skills and such, but the controls are still an issue, and so is the inventory management. Console reviews haven't dropped yet. If we look at Crimson Desert, on Meta. I wonder if OpenCritic has any. But there's like nothing. Not available. It's only on PC. Which I find weird. Like, are they trying to block something? Are they not allowing you to publish the Crimson Desert? OpenCritic. OpenCritic has it at an 80 with the top critic average, and critics recommend. Player rating visible after 20 ratings. Well, what is this for? Does it give me the platform? It just combines them all into one. Excuse me. I think after this stream ends, I have you guys on YouTube redirecting to Lano at Reforge Gaming. And he's been talking about this quite a bit. Saying, you know, I tried to warn you guys. He played yesterday on PS5 Pro and base PS5 and talked about it quite a bit. That the console performance is lackluster even on higher end consoles, being the Series X and PS5 Pro. So with that, I don't know. In 2 to 6 months, maybe worth picking up on a sale. That's what I'm thinking. It looked fun. It looked like a cool game. I just don't know if I want a giant open world game that doesn't run very well. In, you know, sitting in my backlog right now. But maybe, you know, maybe picking it up this fall, right around GTA 6, because I am not playing GTA 6. I have no desire to. And so maybe I'll pick it up right around then. It'll hit a super sale and be worth picking up with some patches and maybe some DLC or something. I don't know. Excuse me. Guys, this pollen is back with a revenge. I've been sneezing and watery-eyed like all morning. All right. Well, that pretty much does it for the game news this morning that I've got anyway. You guys look at my Steam DMs. My gosh. But I appreciate you being here. That's all I got. I've got to run. I got to get started on work, and then we've got the gaming roundtable at noon Central Time. So y'all get ready for that. Excuse me. All right, I'm gonna go before I just spend the rest of the stream coughing. I'm doing it anyway. Love you guys. See ya.
Hang on 1 second. I'm just checking.